So I know that good test takers use unwrap to help them take a test. So the U stands for underline the title. So the title of this text is Finding Gold, Finding Florida. So I am going to make a prediction. I think that this text is going to be about settlers finding the United States and finding gold and somehow establishing Florida. So I can cross off my U. The next is number the paragraphs. I know a paragraph starts with an indentation. So here's paragraph 1, paragraph 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10. And this is another text. Ooh, look. This is a text feature, a picture. It is Ponce de Leon's travels. This is his route. It looks like he started over here, traveled up, around, found Florida, and then he went this way, and then he went this way back. Okay. So I numbered the paragraphs. Now I'm going to walk through the questions. I don't see any questions. I guess I gotta look. Oh, here's some questions. Okay. Finding gold, finding Florida. I'm going to answer numbers 1 through 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so all of these are with the first text. I'm glad I read the directions. So I got to walk through the questions, underline any important words. All right, read these sentences from the article. He and others surmised that he had found islands near Asia on his first trip. For that reason, the crew on this trip numbered 1,500 men on 17 ships. What does surmised mean in the sentence above? So here's the word we need to know, surmised. This sounds like a context clues kind of question, so I have to use context clues for this one. I could answer this question right now if I wanted to. He and others surmised that he had found islands near Asia. So what could surmised mean? I know context clues, ideas, inference, definition, example, antonym, and synonym clues. Inference is where I have to use the text to help me. Definition is where they give me the definition. He and others surmised that he had found. Nope, there's no definition. Example. Nope, no examples. I don't see any antonyms. I don't see any synonyms. So what could it possibly be? He and others battled that he had found islands. No, that doesn't make any sense. He and others doubted that he had found islands. Oh, that makes sense, maybe. He and others figured that he found islands. Maybe. He and others wished that he found islands near Asia. That doesn't make any sense. So he and others doubted that he found. For that reason, the crew on the trip numbered, well, if they doubted, they wouldn't have so many men, right? So it has to be figured. Wow, I haven't even read the text yet. Read this sentence from the article. The natives had never seen dogs before, and these fearsome animals were more frightening than the soldiers. What does fearsome mean? Fearsome. This is another context clues question, and I know context clues, I have ideas. I want you to work through this question on your own. Number 3, read the sentence from the article, but there's no proof that Ponce de Leon never ever heard the legend since none of his writings survived. The root of survived is vive, meaning life. This shows that Ponce de Leon's writing, what? Survived. This is Greek and Latin. They tell us what the Greek and Latin roots means. So I could answer all of these questions right now without ever reading the text. Okay, next page. Why did Ponce de Leon's group leave the west coast of Florida in 1513? So I need to pay close attention to 1513. What's the purpose of the map that goes with this article? Oh, remember I looked at that map. Why does the author use that map? I'm going to start my sentence. The author added this map to what? Why do they have that map? Number 9, one of the details the author includes to support the idea that Ponce de Leon inspired later explorers is that so they want us to know why Ponce de Leon inspired explorers. Read the sentences from the article. He may have known that Alexander the Great of Macedonia had unsuccessfully searched for the Fountain of Youth in Asia 1800 years before. Unsuccessfully means he was not successful. If Ponce de Leon did search for a similar source of youth, his search was as fruitless as Alexander the Great. So fruitless, without. Less means without. So without fruit. Well, they're not talking about real fruit. Fruit must mean success, right? So without success. So which answer is the best? Means that the search was difficult? No. Was it fun? No. Was it a failure? Well, if it doesn't have success, maybe it's a failure. It absolutely was not a success, so H is the best option. Wow, we've already answered so many questions without even reading. How did Ponce de Leon interact with natives in the New World, and how successful were his interactions? Use clear text evidence. So that means I have to quote the text. How did Ponce de Leon interact with natives? So, Ponce de Leon interacted with the natives by blank, and his interactions were or were not, you choose the word there, successful. I know this because, and then I need to say what the text says. The text states blank. All right, that's the end. So we have now walked through all the questions. Now we actually get to read. Finding Gold, Finding Florida. In 1493, Christopher Columbus sailed again to the Americas. He and others surmised that he had found, thought he had found islands near Asia on his first trip. For that reason, the crew on this trip numbered 1,500 men on 17 ships. One of the crewsmen was Juan Ponce de Leon. He stayed in the New World after Columbus returned to Spain. So pause for a second. I need to process. In 1493, Christopher Columbus sailed again to America. They thought he found islands near Asia, so a lot of people went with him. One of the crewmen was Juan Ponce de Leon. He stayed when Christopher went back to Spain. Okay. Ponce de Leon was a skilled soldier. He helped defend the Spanish settlers on the island of Hispaniola from native attacks. As a reward, he was named a governor of the island. So he was a skilled soldier and he was a governor. The natives told stories and legends of the area. One told of an island to the east called Borinquin, where there was gold. Ponce de Leon was sent to explore the island. When the Spanish landed, they had to fight the native Taino people. The Spanish won, partly because they used dogs in battle. The natives have never seen dogs before, and these fearsome animals were more frightening than the soldiers. Interesting. So I remember it asked about his interaction. His interaction with the Native American people. And it sounds like they had to fight. So it wasn't a good relationship. Ponce de Leon built the first European settlement on Borinquin in 1508. The Spanish soon found gold and forced the native people to mine it. Ooh, if you force people to do something, work kind of sounds like slavery. The island was renamed Puerto Rico, meaning rich port. Ponce de Leon quickly became rich. The king then allowed Ponce de Leon to claim areas north of Hispaniola for Spain, but the king did not provide any ships. Ponce de Leon used his wealth to buy ships and supplies. Natives told of an island called Bimini to the north where he could find more gold. They may have also told about a spring that could make people young again today. Ponce de Leon is best known for searching this fountain of youth, but there's no proof that Ponce de Leon ever heard the legend, since none of his writings survived. He did believe he was close to Asia. He may have known that Alexander the Great of Macedonia had unsuccessfully searched for the fountain of youth in Asia 1800 years before. If Ponce de Leon did search for a similar source of youth, his search was fruitless as Alexander the Great's. I bet because he didn't remain young. The ship sailed north in 1513. They made a few stops at islands in the Bahamas. When they saw the coast of Florida, they thought it was an island too. They probably landed first near modern-day St. Augustine. They claimed the land for Spain. Ponce de Leon named it La Florida, meaning the place of flowers. He must have noted the rainbow colors and sweet smells of the flowers. So Ponce de Leon discovered Florida. His ships sailed down the east coast of Florida. They stopped on islands they named Dry Tortugas. They found little fresh water, but many large sea turtles. Sea turtles are called tortugas in Spanish. Later, they tried to land on the west coast of Florida. They soon found that the Calusa people living there were not friendly, so they left Florida and returned to Puerto Rico. So this map must be showing that route where he went from Puerto Rico to find the coast of Florida again. And so he returned. So this must be from these. So when I have to answer the question about what the map represents, it's these paragraphs. Maybe even some of this. In 1521, Ponce de Leon returned to the west coast of Florida. He had 2 ships and 200 men. They wanted to build a settlement, but the Calusa people attacked them again. Ponce de Leon was wounded in the leg with an arrow. Some thought it was poisoned. The Spanish returned to Puerto Rico, where Ponce de Leon died soon afterward. Other explorers realized that before long that Florida was not an island and was